At the time this is being recorded, there are 6 system variables that cannot be included within the print command along with other verbiage. So for example, print math 5 plus 5, print a random number between 1 and 100, print ROT13 hello world, print stock price for General Electric, print weather zip code 10001, which is New York City, and print gibberish, 10 characters worth of gibberish. This all results in the number 10, 14. This is the ROT13 encoding of hello world. This is the current price at which General Electric closed at, $23.07. Current weather in New York City is 65 degrees Fahrenheit, overcast, and these are 10 characters of gibberish produced by the gibberish system variable. Now, here's what happens if we attempt to include other words in these print commands. So what we're going to do is just type in the word output, and we're going to do that for all of these commands here. So we're just going to go ahead and include output with all of them. And what you're going to notice is that even though we're including this wording, right, which in this case is output, it's not actually going to show up in the emulated computer screen window. Now let's just go back up here for a moment. We'll type in CLS. And by the way, these commands can be in lowercase letter, uppercase letter, they could be mixed case, whatever the case might be, it'll work, okay? So let's go ahead and click on the cast button, and we'll see what happens here in the emulated computer screen window. So at first the screen clears, and then we see that the results are very mixed, to say the least. Now, in the case of the math system variable, we just see the number 10. In the case of the random number system variable, nothing shows up whatsoever. In the case of the ROT13 system variable, we see here that the words output are actually encoded, as are hello world. For the stock price, nothing is generated. For the weather, all we see is the slash. We don't actually see any actual weather data, and no gibberish is produced. Now, all of this is alleviated, of course, when we remove the extra verbiage from these commands. Now, is there a workaround? Is there a way to have the output that's produced by these system variables show up within a print command, and to have it show up in a manner that is actually useful and that allows us to basically use some of the data that's being produced by these particular system variables within a print command? And the answer is yes, there is a way to handle this, and quite simply, it's to first put these system variables into a user input variable. So first and foremost, let's just go ahead and click cast once again, and we should see all of this clear away, and in its place what should show up is the properly produced system variable outputs, right, which are of course what we see here on the right hand side of the video you're watching in the emulated computer screen window. So for math, again, 5 plus 5 is 10. The random number selected is 77. Here, once again, we have hello world encoded using the ROT13 cipher. We have General Electric's closing price for today, which was $23.07. We see the weather for Manhattan, which of course is 65 and overcast, and we have 10 characters that are produced, which are gibberish, basically, right? These are nonsensical. It's a nonsensical formulation of characters. So now let's do the following. Let's just make a quick change, and let's say put math 5 plus 5 into, and for this example, let's use number box 1. And then for the random number, let's just quickly modify this, and we'll change this into a put into command. So we're going to put a random number that's selected by the system into number box 2, and of course the random number will be between 1 and 100 inclusive of those numbers themselves, right? So it could be 1 or it could be 100 as well. Let's go ahead and put the ROT13 encoding of hello world into word box 1. Let's go ahead and put the stock price for GE, which is of course the Tinker symbol that we're using in this example. Let's go ahead and put that into number box let's say number box number 2, since we're already using number box number 1 in the previous variable for the math, or I'm sorry, for the math and random variables, system variables. Let's go ahead and change this now to put weather into, now this is where it's going to get interesting. We're going to put one of them into word box, let's see, word box 2, and now this is going to sound strange at first, but you'll see what happens in a moment. We're going to also put weather for this particular zip code into number box, and let's see, what number do we have available. Let's put it into number box 4, and actually this should say number box 3, since we have number box 1 being used here, number box 2 being used here, so this would be number box 3, and then of course this would be number box 4. And finally, we're going to use the put command to put this gibberish, which can be an alphanumeric character set. We're going to go ahead and put that into word box, and let's see what word box is available to us. It would appear as if though word box 3 is available, so we'll put it into word box 3. Now, here's what we're going to do next, because just running these commands will simply put these system variable values into the corresponding user input variables. But to actually get the contents of those system variables, which are now placed into user input variables, outputted onto our emulated computer screen window here on the right hand side, we're going to want to use the print command. So here's how we can use the print command in conjunction with these 6 system variables that by themselves cannot be included in a print command along with extraneous verbiage surrounding the system variables. So this is how we do it. We use the print command, but now, for example, let's just start with the first one. It's going to be number box 1. So we'll say the result of 5 plus 5 is, and then we will include number box 1. Now, what we're going to do next is scroll down here a second. Well, actually, no need to scroll down just yet, but we'll just move to the next line and then say the result of a random, well, here, let's make it say this. The random number selected is, and then of course that'll be number box 2. Now we'll type in print, and let's see, okay, the encoded text is, and that of course will be word box 1. Whoops, okay. Now we'll type print again, and let's see what's next. Okay, the stock price. All right, so the closing price for GE is, and that'll be number box, I believe, 3. So we'll type it in like that. Then we will type in print. Okay, now this is where it gets really interesting. Because what's happening is the put command understands that the weather system variable produces both a numeric component as well as a text-based component. So, for example, here it'll show the numeric component as being the temperature as represented in a Fahrenheit temperature number, which in this case is 65. And then it will also provide something of a text-based current conditions description, which in this case is the word overcast. So here's how we can utilize the put into command in a very clever way to basically gather the specific components of data which we would like to use. So needless to say, if we're going to be putting the weather system variable data into a number box, it would make the most sense to just have it include the numerical portion of the weather data. So here's what's going to happen. Okay, the current temperature, if I'm spelling that word correctly, I hope I am, is, and let's see what variable we're using. Well, it would be number box 4. I'm sort of skipping word box 2 here for just a split second since I already typed in the current temperature, so we will then type in number box number 4. Then we'll say print, don't want to have a typo in there, okay, print the current conditions are, and then here what we will do is we'll type in the corresponding word box, which as we can see up here is word box number 2. So word box 2. So we'll see what that produces in just a moment. And then finally, with respect to the gibberish, we'll type in the gibberish generated is, and then of course we'll end with word box 3. So we'll type that in here. Okay, so here's what we've got. We've got a situation where, and let's just go ahead and close that slight gap there. Okay, we've got a situation where we're going to go ahead and just clear the emulated computer screen window here by using the CLS command. Then we're going to put right, the result of the math system variable, which will be 5 plus 5, into number box 1. Then we're going to put a random number between 1 and 100 into number box 2. Then we're going to put the ROT13 ciphering of the hello world exclamation point text verbiage into word box number 1. We're then going to put the stock price for General Electric, whose ticker symbol is GE, into number box 3. We're then going to put the weather for zip code 10001, which of course is for Manhattan, into word box 2. And as we just said a moment ago, what that's going to do is extract the text-based portion of that weather system variable, because word box number 2, of course, represents a word, or at least that's what the variable, the user input variable, implies. So this command put into is intelligent enough to recognize that we might be interested solely in the text-based portion of the weather system variable output, which in this case would be the word overcast. Then we're going to put the system variable weather 10001 into number box 4. And again, the put into command is intelligent enough to recognize that if we're putting the weather system variable output into a number box, it should perhaps be, of course, right, the numerical portion of that weather system variable output. Finally, we're going to place gibberish, and we're going to put specifically 10 characters worth of gibberish into word box 3. Then finally, we're going to go ahead and print all of this out into the emulated computer screen window. And what we are able to now do is include verbiage that precedes the use of these user input variables. Let's go ahead and click on the cast button. And in a moment or two, we should see the computer emulated screen window clear, and we should see the results of what we are asking Alexia BASIC to place into this window appear, and now it has appeared. So here we have the results, right? The result of 5 plus 5 is 10. The random number selected is 61. The encoded text is, and there it is, the closing price for GE is 2307. The current temperature is 65 degrees, right? And it just shows literally the number. The current conditions are overcast. The gibberish generated is, and there is the gibberish. So that provides you with a somewhat more nuanced explanation of how system variables can be used in conjunction with the print command. Thanks for watching. Now please subscribe to our channel.